Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever. Hello, everybody. This is Jerry Diamond. I'm going to be reading again from the Silver Chair by C.S. Lewis. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do it recordings. I'm going to get 2 or 3 ahead, and then I'll upload them so I can do one about every day, and I'll try to catch up in between when I'm not uploading one every day. And then I'll have 2 or 3 in a can, so I can upload one every day. Because I know once I get started on this, I want to make it consistent for everybody. So it's not going to take that long. It's chapters 16 days technically. 2 weeks. It should be done in 2 weeks. 2 weeks I should be leaving for South Carolina, North Carolina. Oh my gosh. That's one reason why I'm reading this. I'm going to do the short video here, introductory. Then you skip this one if you want, and then I just go to the reading if you don't have time. I'm going to talk a little bit here. The reason I'm reading this book is because, for several reasons, it's kind of a standalone story. I want to recap that. There's not as many characters in it that are involved with all the rest of the books. It's not an introductory book to the whole thing. You either get it or you don't. You know, it's kind of a standalone story as much as possible with the Chronicles of Narnia. Man, my throat's not good. I'm sorry. Frogs in my throat. Get the water out. I'm trying to get my voice tuned up too for the chapter ahead. So there's 16 chapters. I should be able to do that in about 2 weeks. I was supposed to get a head start on it here for a few days. And then the other reason I want to read it is I've been reading the parts from the Enchanted Hour, which is about reading to children. And this could go for adults, anybody. If you read out loud, it forms a bond there. You've spent time together. You've been through an adventure together. You've been through life and death situations together. You've been through some deeply emotional, sometimes traumatizing situations together, and so you have a bond there. When you go on the play sports or something, the people your teammates, especially like if you're playing guard. The 2 guys on the right or left of you on the line, you're going to bond with them forever. It's like you've been to hell and back, And same thing in military, those guys you're there with, you've got a lifelong bond with some of those people. The ones you got along with anyway, not the ones you wanted to kill. So, 2 reasons, read through it. The Enchanted Hour, the idea of reading, I want to read to my children and my grandchildren, but also to the children that went through the horrific things that went through in North Carolina, Tennessee, and now in California. Been some very trying situations. So their lives have been completely turned upside down, inside out, destroyed. Their homes have been destroyed, cars have been destroyed. Some of their families have been destroyed. So I want to read to those children. And the idea was given to me that request was given to me to have a ministry to children by Lacey Montgomery, and she's the first person that contacted me about taking my idea out there and helping people with it. So my stove, my in-ground Dakota fire hole, what do you want to call it, rocket stove, and so ground heating system, earth battery, sand battery, earth and thermal mass. I could put 15 titles on it, but anyway, so that's one of the reasons I want to do it. And then the other related to that is the fact that this book is about a very hopeless situation. And I'll get to that section here in the next, probably 3rd chapter, 4th chapter. I'll read this section. I read it before, but I'll read it again because it will come across. I'm not gonna skip it because I read it once. So anyway. It's page 63, and that's Puddleglum. In the chapter Puddleglum. I think it's chapter 4. Chapter 5, Puddleglum. So, way down the road, we'll read why I'm doing this. Because it was a hopeless situation, and it's like sometimes you have to do something. You have to do it, and you may not come back. You may not survive, but you got to do it anyway. So that's kind of how I feel about this. I need to do it. It's like a life. It's been 10 years of my life wrapped up in this thing, and I gotta try at least to help people with it. I can't just sit here. I'm not getting any younger. I'm 70 years old. My health is not the best, greatest, and I can't just sit here and keep all my information to myself. I've got to try to do something with it. So that's what I feel. Thing of greater love hath no man than this, to lay down his life for his friends. Well, these aren't my friends, but they are in the sense that they're in the body of Christ. They're people who need help, and I need to go help them. I mean, I need to be a good Samaritan. I need to be boots on the ground. One of the ministers out there, one of the best ministers out there, is Samaritan's Purse. Franklin Graham has been there with Trump. Every speech he gives about North Carolina, he's there with him, because Graham is from North Carolina. So right down the street there, Black Mountain, somewhere down there. Their headquarters are there too. So anyway, that's one of the reasons. It's a hopeless situation, pretty much hopeless situation. Very, very difficult situation. So I'm looking at this is a very difficult thing for me to do. Yeah. If I go and I don't make it, well, so hopefully they can dig a hole and put me in it out there instead of out here. So my voice is really shitty. I don't know if I'm going to do this or not tonight. So I'm going to pause this one and then go to the next one. So I'll read the chapter separate so you don't have to listen to all this blather. I'll try to just stay with the chapter. I'll spend some time trying to get my voice in better shape. Get some of the frogs out of my throat. Okay. So if you're with me, if you're following me, pray for me. I've got maybe, I don't know what time they're coming out. They're coming out sometime in February to meet with some other people out here. And I said, well, I'll just drive out with you. So I'll have to get a U-Haul loaded up. And I mean, this is going to be basically a life-threatening situation for me, from start to finish, because I don't need a lot of stress, and it's going to be a very stressful situation. So I'm just going to try to do it. If I can make it, I will. If I don't, I don't. If I don't make it, I don't make it. So such is life. Yeah. None of us are going to get out of life alive anyway. That's pretty much a given fact, right? Don't think we're going to be translated or raptured. So anyway, enough blathering. I'm sorry. 7 minutes, that's enough of me just yakking. So I'm going to try to get my voice straightened up before I try to read. So, all right. Good night. Be praying for me. Hallelujah. I mean, everything that's happened in my life has been because God has been gracious to me, been merciful to me. And the reason I'm here in Missouri, and not in Colorado still, because God gave me the foresight and the wisdom and the ideas to make something different, get my family to a different place that was better than Colorado. And like I said before, 1,500 feet from where I had two of my children were born in the duplex. Prisoners from Venezuela have taken over an apartment complex 1,500 feet from where I was living at the time. So horrible situation. So anyway, all right, well, it's all the grace of God that I am where I'm at right now, and have the desire that I begin the wisdom to put together this idea that I did. It's an ancient idea. I don't understand why everybody doesn't do it, and we're starting to now. I'll say this: Polar Night in Finland. I'll say there'll be 100 of these things before long. 100-ton sand batteries, big, huge silos, 27 feet high, 27 meters high, 27 feet high, I think, yeah. 27 feet high, 7 meters, yeah, something like that. 9 meters tall, and probably, I'm guessing 10, 20 meters, 10, 20 feet circumference. I don't know what the dimensions are. Anyway, big, giant, looks like a grain silo, right, full of sand. They heat it up all summer long with excess wind and solar. Then it bleeds off all winter long, and they heat with it all winter long. It'll survive the whole winter. I don't know the details of how they do it, but they're doing it. How about there'll be 100 of them before long? It's a good idea. A company, Bat Sand, here in America is doing that for residential. They're putting it underneath the house, so they're basically doing new construction only. But they're also doing water tank looking things. Basically a water tank filled with sand, because you can heat that up. They're insulated. You can heat it up all summer long, and you get heat out of it all winter long. So anyway, that's the idea. So it's an ancient idea. Romans used to heat entire gigantic spas, steam baths, saunas, whatever you want to call them. And they heated those from under the floor. Hypokos, below, hypo, under, caustic, like hot. The floor was hot. They heated the walls up through the walls and the floor with it, with fire down below. So Koreans do it to this day. Kang bed, the Mongolians did it. Ondol, Ondol, Kang, Kang. So it's a very common practice. So I've just taken it and simplified it even simpler than the ancients did. Instead of using stones and everything, I'm just using stainless steel pipe. Instead of using dirt, I'm using sand, which is even better. Better than water, better than dirt, better than rocks. And so basically it's a very simple system. So instead of using, having battery banks and passive solar heating and heating it with wind power and solar power, heating up electrodes, I'm just using, we got fuel everywhere around here in Missouri. A lot of places we have a lot of kinds of fuel. So I'm just using a rocket stove system, heating with wood, plastic, whatever you want. All right, anyway, that's enough. All right, good night. Bye-bye.